Sam Sorbo Show. I'm your host, Sam Sorbo. I'm joined by a special guest. This is a gal I met last night again. I had met her previously. She is running for school boards, so she is a hero to me. And I hope that she will be also to you. We're going to talk about the challenges that she faces, why she's decided to take this on, and then maybe get into some points of inspiration for you. My guest is Jen Showalter. She's running for school board here in Palm Beach County. And so welcome to the show, Jen.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate being able to chat with you and everyone listening.
Yeah. So she's a small business person. She's also the mom of three. Two of her kids, I think, are special needs also. She's concerned about what the heck is going on in our schools. So, Jen, maybe just walk us through how you came to this realization that you had to run for school board, because that's a big step. It's pretty much in a sense, for a lot of people, it's like, whoa, that's too much work or something, right?
Exactly. It is a daunting task. And the whole reason I ran was because of my children. I've been involved in paying attention to what's been happening nationally for years. But like 1930s America, I wasn't willing to go all in. And the mask mandate was my Pearl Harbor, because I have three children. They're all gifted, two in high school, one in elementary. And my two sons are high functioning and autistic. They have sensory processing disorder, ADHD, and other special needs. And their pediatrician wrote them a opt out for the mask back last year, and they were denied. Their exemption was denied. So both schools. So for me, that was the make or break for me. I realized that I had to go and step in and fight for my children. I couldn't wait for other people to do the fighting for me.
Yeah, and one of the things that I've been kind of harping on, and I'm a homeschool advocate, so I'm kind of like, really, schools, I don't know, but I appreciate that there are people out there who really want to get in the fight, and it is a fight. One of the issues that we have with schools is that they really teach and train conformity, and your sons are not, they're just not made of that cloth. They're made of a different cloth, right?
Right. Well, the conformity, that's all part of critical race theory. Critical race theory is groupthink. It's about conformity. You're not allowed to think for yourself. And all the teaching methods that they use are stimulus response. They're just trying to get the children to answer the way that they want them to.
Regurgitate, in a sense.
Right. And so for my kids, even my daughter, who isn't on spectrum, she is definitely her own animal. And that's the thing. We have to start embracing individuality. And that's the whole problem with the school system itself.
Oh, yeah. You're not going to get that in the schools.
No. Well, not unless we change it. And that's what I'm here for. I'm here to educate people on the issues, because honestly, if you understand the issues, then you're going to be motivated to go in there and do what you can to fix it.
Right. And if you believe that it can be fixed, which I'm mildly skeptical of at this point, because it's been so co-opted. Certainly more recently than before, but everything before, you can't just discount what came before, because what came before led to this, right?
Well, exactly. The Common Core has had many names, like No Child Left Behind. It's just been rebranded year after year, administration after administration. And so we have to basically audit the entire system and see what works and what doesn't. But part of the problem is who is in charge. So that's part of the reason that I'm running, is because there is no oppositional viewpoint, worldview on the board. And this is America. We're supposed to have differing views, and that's what makes us great, is to be able to have discourse and discussion, and to be able to bring different points of view to and have a much richer environment for it. But
Not only
unfortunately,
that, I'll just add, if you don't mind, to celebrate individuality, right? I mean, to
yeah,
celebrate it, to celebrate a different point of view, and
right,
whether we agree or not, it just in the sense that we can respect people who have differing views. I think
right.
we've reached a little bit of a watershed moment right now, because the old line is, well, we all want the same thing. And I'm struggling with that right now, because I don't know that we all want the same thing.
We don't. We don't. And that's the thing. We are living with the byproduct of critical race theory and the Marxist indoctrination that's been in our system for decades. The proof is in the pudding, and we're seeing it firsthand. The whole idea, I tell people that critical race theory, I know I'm talking a lot about that, but they use code words. And people think, oh, diversity, inclusion, those are great things, but that's what they do. We've broken the code. They, any sort of opposition uses their own code, and we've broken the code, and they've inverted everything. So
I love that you say that, because of course that's my book. That one
right.
there, Words
Yeah.
for Warriors, is this idea that they're using the words that we use, and we think that the words mean the same thing, but to them, the words mean something completely different. I mean, it's as simple as Black Lives Matter. Well, we would all agree Black lives do matter, but that's not exactly what they mean by that. What
Oh,
they
exactly.
mean is certain Black Lives Matter. They just leave off the certain, because some Black lives matter more than others in their definition, right?
Right. And inclusion is actually exclusion. You either you think their way, or you're ostracized. You're literally cut off. So
Okay,
it's
so tell me about running for school board, because I want people to understand, what does it take? What were your first steps? Is this the first time you've run? All of these basic questions.
that's a great question. I spent months debating whether or not to do this. I'm a business owner. I am a graphic designer. And I also am a doTERRA wellness advocate. So technically I have two, and three children, two of which are special needs. So I have a lot on my plate already. And so it was a big deal for me to decide to run. But, if everybody else is busy, if I'm not willing to stand up, why should I expect anybody else to? And so what I did, I found out about FreedomWorks, and FreedomWorks is an amazing organization. And they have a subset called BEST. And BEST is run by Laura Zolk, and she's amazing. They actually do training for people looking to be a candidate, whether it's for school board or some other position. And so I went to the BEST conference in Nashville back in March, and I got to hear from people who run campaigns. I listened to people who've been on school boards. We talked about the issues. So
This was
first
the
off,
FreedomWorks conference.
it was the
And
BEST conference, which is
right.
from FreedomWorks.
Produced by FreedomWorks, freedomworks.org. That's CL Bryant.
Right.
And I just actually spoke with him at an event and got to know him a little bit. We're going to hopefully be partnering shortly here in the future. And I just want to point out that you said something that I actually wrote down, because I think it's so pertinent to the discussion today, the general discussion in the marketplace of ideas. If I'm not willing to step up, how can I expect anyone else to? And Eric Metaxas spoke at the same conference that I was at with CL Bryant. And his first message was really this idea that, look, if you're saving for a rainy day, cut it out. You need to spend all your resources right now, because if you wait, if you hold back now, they will be worthless
Right.
by the time we get to where the culture is now, the tsunami is now pushing us, right?
The urgency, this is an all hands on deck situation. This is the last call. People need to understand the emergency that we're in, and there you can't wait for tomorrow. You know, we're none of us are guaranteed tomorrow, but the thing of it is we all have a part to play. I listen to a lot of people speak, and there's a lot of praise for DeSantis, and yes, he's doing great work, but it's almost like a savior complex.
Yes,
Oh, they'll do it.
he'll
They'll
do
do it.
it. He'll get it done. Trump
And
will get it done.
right, and we have to save ourselves. And it takes everyone. It's just like a sailing ship. You have the person doing the rigging, you have the person at the steering wheel, you have the person up on the mast. It takes everybody to run the ship, and you can't expect one person to do it all. And
Okay,
so,
so you went to this conference and they
right.
taught you basically how to run. Is that?
Yeah, they do. And they actually have an ongoing 6-week boot camp. It's an online camp, and it's free. And you can contact them and they can get you set up. And they basically run you through the whole process of what to do before you file, having your talking points, how to go door to door, looking at voter registration lists, the whole 9 yards, how to fundraise. So it's a pretty exhaustive, and it gives you a real eye opener as to what's involved.
So you've
For
been running since when? When did you declare or
I,
file?
yeah, I put my papers in May, and I know it's a marathon, not a sprint, because the election for me is not until August of next year. So I have 12 months left to go. So yeah.
So you've put them on notice. Are you after a particular seat? Is somebody stepping down? Are you trying to oust somebody? Do you have competition? Have they declared? Like where does that stand?
Well, I'm running for District 6, and currently that's Miss Andrews, and she has not filed to run again, but I expect her to. But there
How long
are,
has she served?
oh goodness, I think it's been at least three. She's gone through 3 election cycles, so
And
that's.
is she somebody who supports, we discussed CRT, but there's 1619 project, there's Common Core, there's, right? Go ahead.
She actually just won an award in June of this summer from the Florida School Boards Association for her exemplary work dealing with equity programs.
Okay, and the Florida School Boards Association is a union-based or union-funded organization?
Um, I don't know if I'd necessarily say they're union, but anybody's in that association. And I will note that they are pushing all these mask mandates, and yet on Facebook, you can go to Facebook, go to Florida School Boards Association. They have their conference photos from June. It's a mass group of people indoors for days, close quarters with no masks and nice smiling faces. Yet our children and our staff were forced to wear masks all summer long.
Wow.
The
See,
hypocrisy.
that's the problem. And the thing is that, like, I understand the number of people out there who are very fearful, and they see the reports of, hospitalizations going up and deaths rising and surge this and Delta variant that. And I sympathize with them. And I struggle when I really struggle when I see the people who are advocating all of the protocols not abiding by the protocols. That's the disconnect. That's where I just go, okay, wait, no. Then you don't get to say the protocols because you won't abide by them, right?
Right. Well, the other thing, I'm immunodeficient, so I take it all very seriously. And I'm a researcher. Everybody knows I'm a research geek. I've been talking to EMTs, doctors, nurses. I've been looking at research data. You can even go to the CDC website. They paid for randomized clinical trials, or RCTs. Every single RCT ever performed on mask prevention, use of masks for prevention of laboratory confirmed flus and other respiratory viruses, every single one showed they were not effective.
Okay.
And
so we're getting into some,
they paid for it, but yet they don't, acknowledge.
Right. Because it doesn't conform to their science. Okay. I need to take a break because we're getting into some YouTube questionable areas, and YouTube just took me down again, which means that if they give me another mark, I'm bye-bye or something. I can't remember, but they're going to punish me severely. So we're going to continue this, this interview on locals. Go to sorbos.locals.com for the rest of my interview with Jen Showalter, who's running for school board in District 6 here in Florida's Palm Beach County. And I'm going to ask her about her platform, like what's going to convince parents to vote for her over what we're guessing will be the incumbent. So join me over at sorbos.locals.com. And if you're listening on radio or a podcast, just hang on. I'll be right back. Don't forget to go to my TV show on Epoch TV or Epic TV. It's at the Epic Times news site. They are a great paper, and you can watch my show called School's Out with Sam Sorbo, all about how our education has gone so wrong and what you can do about it. And thank you for your support there also. Really appreciate it.